Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. And a special welcome back because I've missed you all. Now, obviously, you've seen the thumbnail. And I do not want you guys to be off put by the title of this video for whatever I choose to make this title. Before we get into it, I would just like to talk about how sometimes thoughts come to you and you have no idea where they come from. And these can be good thoughts, bad thoughts, and most of the time, the thoughts that I'm talking about are like thoughts of inspiration, thoughts of mental clarity, as such. And anyone who's an athlete, anyone who starts a business, anyone who is embarking on anything really in life where you just have this, it's called like the light bulb moment. It's like, I get it now. And it's almost like an obsession when you're so locked into something you do that you can't filter the thoughts. Like, they just come so effortlessly. You'll be watching TV and something completely unrelated, and you just get this random idea in your head. You'll be driving down the road and you just get this random thought. It's like, that's what I'm going to do next. That's where I'm going. Guys, I get that all the time. So that's where this video came from. Honestly, I was literally just in a social psychology class, and this video title came to me today. And I just want you guys to know I have like over 30 videos already written out, planned to talk about, and most of the time, the videos I end up doing aren't videos that I have scheduled for that day. So, without further ado, guys, losing my religion. Now, to start off this conversation, I would like to point out that religion and faith are not the same thing. They're just not. Guys, religion is a set of values or customs that people follow in accordance to a faith or a belief in a higher power, a supernatural power. So what's the difference from that and actual faith, guys? Faith is the general belief in a supernatural, more abundant power than yourself, maybe something unexplainable. I reference faith like I believe in Jesus of the Bible, Jesus of Nazareth, right? Of the Christian Bible. I do not adhere to Christian customs, though. And that's going to be a little confusing for some of us, because the difference in that of what I just pointed out is the faith in Jesus of the Bible is the fact that I do not celebrate certain holidays that certain Christian sects celebrate, such as Catholics have their own set of customs, Baptists have their own set of customs and holidays, rituals. I personally don't adhere to any of those specific customs. Methodists, Lutherans, Pentecostals, guys, the list goes on and on, and the Muslims. These are just the Christian sects of religion. That's not even Hinduism and Buddhism and Taoism, and you have the Mormons, and the list just goes on. So, losing my religion is the title of this video, but that's not really what I want to talk about. I'm not talking about losing my religion, guys, because I believe in God of the Bible. I just don't follow many customs. I'm not in a place in my life where it's practical to go follow many customs right now. I'm in school, it's and this isn't an excuse, really. It's just I'm not even really a social person. Like, I like people and I'm really decent with people. I just don't like crowds of followings and gatherings and customs. I'm more of a do my own thing and leave me alone guy, right? And that sounds so bad to say, but that's just the way I am, and I'm okay with that. Um, but losing my religion, guys, is more or less about why people might lose their religion, right? That's really what I want to talk about: is why would someone lose their religion? And I have a couple bullet points here, and I'm gonna go speed through them a little bit. So one critique of religion is that we often, as people, try to give credit to religion when we can't explain problems, unknown phenomenons, supernatural events such as like mass floodings. These tend to have a lot to do with weather and, like asteroids hitting the earth or the extinction of dinosaurs, or it's just things that we don't understand or weren't documented or are out of the norm have to be supernatural. And we give a lot of credit to religion to explain things that we can't scientifically record or don't have measures on. And I don't think that's 100% fair. And that's not to say that religion is not accurate in some sense and is not accurate at explaining some of these phenomenons. It's just to say that you can't automatically assume that religion has the answer to every scientific problem that you don't understand. If that was the case, guys, electricity would have been due to religion. We don't have electricity in the 1400s. That must be because Jesus doesn't want you to have electricity. That's not necessarily the case. It's no one has come along and discovered electricity yet. And so that's probably a very elementary example of what I mean by using religion to explain unnatural phenomenons, or even natural. It's that our default answer is always God did it. God did it. When I don't understand it, it must be God's will. It must be God's will. It must be God's understanding. Something bad happened. God did it. And that's the one that really irritates me the most, is that we give God credit for bad and good at the same time, just because we can't understand. Or even worse, we give the devil credit for things that we don't understand or things that we personally don't like. It's like you can't accredit the devil for everything, every inconvenience in your life. Everything that you don't understand, every time someone dies, every time a tragedy happens, every time you can't explain things, every time you get your heart broken, it's not the devil. It just isn't. Right? You have 7 billion people living life. Sometimes it's not the devil. Sometimes it's the cards you were dealt. Sometimes it's just the way life worked out for you. Sometimes it's the fault of another person. It's not necessarily the devil, or it's not necessarily Jesus. That doesn't mean that there's not some interference spiritually there. It's just giving 100% credit to a supernatural force is not practical, and is often the only solution we have. And there's a quote, I think it says, oh man, I forget it now. It pretty much says, when ignorance is at the forefront, then religion steps in. It's like when we don't understand stuff, we go straight to religion, and that's not how life should work. Next problem. And I kind of combine that with the problem of evil. One way, I guess, back to the losing my religion, one way people might not understand religion or be put off by religion is because the problem of good and evil. Because in some instances in the Bible, it says that God allows evil to happen. Other instances, it gives credit to the devil and his followers and his spiritual realm. And in other instances, it doesn't give God or the devil credit. It just says how you should handle the situations that said people are in. So it seems to be an incoherence of what the actual problem is. It seems like the problem isn't always the same. That sometimes God may intervene, sometimes the devil may intervene, and sometimes God lets the devil intervene, and sometimes it's neither of them. It's just the cards you were dealt in life and the messed up world we were in. That's the problem with evil, is why people don't understand. And sometimes, man, you're just unlucky. And I hate to use those terms because it really is unfortunate to hear that certain people work so hard and start so low, and some people work so little and start so high. But that's just part of life, and you're just unlucky in that situation. You're unlucky. You know, everyone can't start at the top. Some people have to start from square one. Unlucky. But it's the way the world goes. Can't change it. The next thing I want to say, guys, and this is more of a social critique of religion. This is honestly going to be my personal beliefs on religion and what I see. And I live in North Carolina, guys. If you guys don't know, North Carolina is very, very, very country. North Carolina does not just consist of Charlotte. And North Carolina does not just consist of Raleigh. And North Carolina does not just consist of Wilmington. There's a lot in between those three cities. And it's a really, really agricultural based state. It's really, really country, guys. And there's a lot of diversity, but it's also not necessarily progressive in a sense that, as you guys know, North Carolina is a swing state. So sometimes we want to be Republican, sometimes we want to be Democratic, and we can't really agree on who we are. As a state, we are what we feel like being that day. Like the weather. Like the weather in North Carolina. We don't know what we want to be, which is funny. So, enough of the dad jokes. Representation in religion, guys. When I look at religion, especially living in North Carolina, and I look on social media, and I look at the people in religious affiliations, churches, church groups, organizations, even on campus, it seems to be that there's a particular look that churches want. There's a particular type of person that churches seek out to represent them. And this is going to make a couple people mad. And this is not my intention, but it's the way it is. In the Bible, Jesus spent most of his time with people who were committing crimes, people who were sinning, people who were poor, people who were less worthy, people who were less skillful, and people who were sick. In this society, church is not about that. Church isn't as much about spreading religion as it is spreading an image. That Jesus is wonderful, Jesus is pleasant, Jesus is, your life's going to be radically changed, and Jesus is pumpkin spice lattes in the morning. Jesus is Bible verses in the Instagram bio. Jesus is praying in public with our hands up and singing songs so everyone can see it. Jesus is Thursday night Bible studies. Jesus is ripped jeans, long flared jeans and cardigans. I hope I'm painting an image for you guys. Jesus is pink, yellow, and blue highlighter on an entire page of the Bible. That's Jesus. Jesus is an inspirational quote. Guys, these are all things I see on social media. And this is my social critique to religion, is that it's not representative as a whole of religion. It's not inclusive. And this is specifically religion, not faith. And I want to reiterate that I'm talking about religion. Is that religion seeks out certain individuals. It separates itself from the entire body of the Bible, of religion as a whole. as faith as a whole, the word of God is that religion picks certain people and divides them. Catholics over here, you guys don't dress like us. You guys don't do as many services as we do. You guys don't do as many works in the community as we do. Pentecostal over here, you guys don't pray as good as we do. You guys don't show your love for Jesus as good as we do, right? Baptist over here, you guys aren't as inclusive as we are. You know, it just divides people. And I'll be honest, the image I get of religion on social media, especially down here in the South, in North Carolina, on campuses, on anywhere, is a nice white lady. And that's what religion is portrayed as, a nice white lady and a tall white man. And I just want to clarify that I am triracial, and I don't even particularly believe in race. But I have white family, black family, and Native American family, guys. I don't like the way religion is portrayed. And I see people who try to spread religion, guys. And they're very off-put by people such as myself who are outspoken, maybe a little bit more headstrong, maybe are not as agreeable, or maybe have more life experience. A lot of people who try to promote religion, spread religion, already come from a stable family, a wealthier background, and that's not everyone. I'm generalizing here, so excuse my generalization if you do not fit in. This is one of the critiques with religion, is that it generalizes, and I am generalizing now, that religion is not inclusive. I will reiterate that my idea of religion is nice white woman, nice white man. They probably have a nice wealthy family, and they go to church and it makes them feel good on Sundays. There's no hardship in that. None at all. In fact, in the Bible, Jesus sought out the people who were going through hardships and hard times. And I think that's where religion is supposed to thrive, is for the poor. And there's a quote, there's a saying that, and I don't even know if it's in the Bible, it's that it's hard for a rich man to get into heaven. It's because he doesn't need God. A rich man doesn't need religion. He's got everything. God specifically focused on the poor and critiqued the government. He said, this is who I'm here to serve. And he's going to judge the government accordingly, because the government is keeping certain people at bay. Religion is keeping certain people at bay. And I'm really interested in you guys' thoughts on this video. So if you have any thoughts and you're still watching this video, guys, please leave them down below. Honestly, I would really like to hear your thoughts on this video. So that's my religion is not inclusive. Religion divides, puts people into sects, and I just do not feel as if people were meant to be segregated, put into sects. Science shows, psychology shows that people work better when they're working towards one common goal, when we're not divided, when we're all working together, that there's not really any difference in race or ethnicity on a performance level of any kind when people are given the same amount of time, resources, and instruction, right? If you give someone the same amount of time, resource, instruction, opposed to from all the environmental factors, they're gonna perform equally on average. That's an average of a population. Now, why do we see so many worldly national differences? Is because every nation does not have the same resources. Resources are not readily available to all people, and we know that. That's why more funding is given to minorities at the moment, is because their resources are not as plentiful. And to balance out that, due to many of historical events that have happened to minorities, funding is necessary. The last thing I want to say about this, guys, is the false reality of perfection that social media gives you this idea, this nice white woman, this nice white man. They go to church on Sunday, Bible study on Thursday. They're going to have a nice little family with 3-4 kids, right? Perfection in reality is a myth. Jesus tries to paint a picture of imperfection and give it to you and how he can change that through you. Social media gives you religion as that once you find God, you're going to be perfected and that you're going to be financially blessed and no more burdens in your family. Everyone's following Jesus. Everything's going to be okay. Not quite. It's just not the way the world works. That just because you have religion doesn't mean the world is perfect. And the idea that people try to portray on Instagram is that we're a nice religious person, we have a nice religious profile. Those are the people who have the worst personalities. The worst things happen to them, guys. These people struggle too. That religion is not all nice and pretty. Just because you see someone in church every Sunday does not mean they have it figured out. They struggle with mental health. They struggle with addiction. They struggle spiritually, financially. They have the same lustful sins you do. Religion does not make you perfect. So don't fall into the trap of seeing people who present religion as perfect, as they're perfect, as now they're on Instagram and they're doing a diet cleanse and their life is just great and they're drinking fruit smoothies and they have their pumpkin spice coffee before church and they're just so in the word and they're touched by the word every week. And this is not to dog on anyone. I encourage you guys go to church. I encourage you guys find yourself in religion. It's just that people can be put off by the perception that religion is perfect, and that's why I think it needs to be more inclusive, that we need to start focusing on the people who don't look like the typical image, right? I said that was the last thing. I had one more bullet point. I lied to you guys. Don't compare your life to others. And one thing people might say religion isn't for me, they might lose their religion, is because comparing your life to others. Thinking that this person has a better life than me, that's why religion works for them. That religion isn't for me because I didn't start off where they started off. They started off better than I did. Comparison is the thief of joy. Is how that goes. The more you compare yourself, especially in religion, the less happy you will be. Do not think that people that go to church, people who present God, people who claim to have the nicest personalities, guys, I intentionally try to make some of my content I post a little against the grain. I try to show imperfections. I try to not compare myself to others because they're not really living authentically. And so don't compare yourself to people who are not being authentic. I see all the time, and it's people I respect. I see their Instagram profiles. I see their Facebooks. I see their Snapchats, and it's Bible verses, weddings, nice pictures of sunsets. It's family outings. It's nothing but positive things. There's not a personality in it. Is that if you compare yourself to people who are scared to show them their real self, you're always going to be let down. Most people are not comfortable being themselves. Most people cannot put their actual self on display and withstand the criticism that others might have of them. And that's somewhere where I personally strive, is because I really don't mind criticism. I don't particularly like it, but I understand that many times we get criticized by people who can't take criticism themselves. That most people will not put their real self online. They will put the highlights of themselves because they do not want you to know who they really are. They want you to think that they're at the golf club every weekend, the country club. They want you to think that they're taking trips to New York, that they're going to Paris, that they graduated college and never failed a class or never got a C, that they found the love of their life easy and they weren't on dating apps and they weren't. It just goes on and on, guys. That people do not put their real selves out there. That people do not drink and smoke and struggle with lust. Like, these don't get showed online often, and then the people who do show it at such a alarming rate of sexual immorality, we turn that off because we're just like, that's disgusting. Why would you show us that? But those are actually the people Jesus was here to help. Now, as always, guys, I love you guys. If you have anything to say about this video, I hope you guys just take away that religion divides and faith brings people together. Be inclusive, guys, of religion. Be willing to understand that everyone's idea of religion is not yours and that everyone will not approach religion in the same way. There's going to be people who turn you down. There's going to be people who have never even heard the points I have made and think that these are direct attacks on them because that's all they've ever seen. That is not the case at all. That the world is much bigger than yourself. And it's so much bigger that even going outside of your own state, outside of your own country, you realize that they don't even know who you are. They don't know your country exists. They don't know your state exists. And they don't know your religion exists. Keep that in mind when talking about religion, is that God never told you to be a religion. He told you to be a follower. And he told you to be faithful. Acknowledge me in all you do, and I will make your path clear. Love you guys. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Peace out.